quite a few entries. Oh, my dog almost fell off the bed. Moved to Morocco with those... Hi, potatoes. I keep waiting for someone to tell me to stop calling you guys potatoes, and nobody does. So, you're potatoes. Congratulations to my brother and sister-in-law. They had a child, their 7th child. Congratulations. The only thing is that they live 10 hours away and they do not take pictures. So I don't know if my new niece, which was named after me, is cute and beautiful and healthy. I'm kind of upset at the baby because she was supposed to be born in October, and there are no birthdays for our family in October, but there are like 5 birthdays in September already, and so now, I mean, she could have had it all. She could have had the whole month of October to herself, but she came early, and for my sister-in-law's sake, I'm grateful, but still. Here we go. Okay, I have to do some quick editing here. This journal was given to me by Sean, and it has his last name on it. So here we go. Journal number 8. Okay, so we're gonna rate it. This journal has a lot of sentimentality powers. It has leap year in it. I'm going to say this is a 7.5 because Sean gave this to me and he used it before he gave it to me, which makes it more special, in my opinion. And this journal was only ever in Morocco, except for when Sean used it, so I guess it was also in Wisconsin. It was given to me by Sean. Fun fact, this is the first journal I wrote in every single day. Ta-da! Here we say it's the 8th book, and we have a nice little picture there. It's my Sean journal. I have some more of these really cool butterfly stickers, wherever they came from, and then I have start date February 14th, end date March 18th. So I'm just gonna get the sad part out of the way first. As you know, I moved to Morocco and my brother was with me and Sean was with me and Dan was with me, as were a couple other people. When they came with us, it was always with the understanding that they were leaving the end of February. They only came to help us move. They came to see Morocco, have a visit there, and then they were gonna go back to Wisconsin or, you know, wherever else. So they leave me in this journal, and that was a really hard transition for me because they were both older brothers. Obviously Quentin was my biological older brother, but Sean was very much someone who looked out for me, and I felt that. The only entry that I cried while I was reading was that one because it was my brother leaving, it was Sean leaving. When he was there, I was safe. And I had never lived without my brother Quentin. He had always just been at home. He was 18 and he was in love with Bethany, and now they have 7 children. This Quentin in this journal would be shook. Actually, probably not. He really wanted to have a ton of children, so Bethany would probably be shook. So I have quite a few entries where I was just like processing just how scared I was. Basically, it was scary to me. Entry from February 16th has a lot of tear marks on it. February 22nd, 2004. Hey, he's gone. I was standing up on the balcony when Dad comes up and says I should go down to say goodbye to Quentin. As I head down the stairs, tears start burning behind my eyes, but I'm able to hold them back. He was in our room saying goodbye to Talia. When I came in, they were both crying. So to try and save the moment, I stop and act like I'm going to go out of the room saying, "Oops, wrong room." That made them laugh. Well, Quentin anyways. I couldn't stand him crying, so I start laughing. Talia and Dad leave so we can be alone. He sits me on his lap and says, I'll miss you. You'll be the oldest. I'll write you how I'm doing at Beth's and stuff. And I say, you'll write me on my birthday? And he says, oh shoot, now I'll have to remember all your birthdays. How am I going to do that? I start laughing. Talia came in again and Quentin told her, I cried when I was saying goodbye to everyone else, but with Bailey I started laughing. We sat there for a minute without saying anything, and Mom and Talia were in there. I started crying, so I quick stand up and say, that's enough of this. And I go out of the room rubbing my eyes. I go outside where everyone is waiting with their stuff. I stand on a bottom step and don't look at anybody because I know that if I did, I would lose it. They say, oh, 2 taxis just pulled into the driveway. I start crying. I couldn't stop. People start hugging people. Mom and Quentin start crying. Quentin was crying so hard. This is so sad to remember. Sean hugs me first, I think. He says, I'll miss ya. I love you like my little sister. You're like my little sister. Always remember. A little while later, he was standing a ways away, and I was still on the step, and we were facing each other, and we looked up, and he smiled at me, and I smiled back, tears streaming down my face, kind of like this moment. I went down the steps, and Quentin gave me a hug. He was crying. I choked up. He said, I love you, Bailey. I couldn't say anything back. A little later, Quentin looks at me, sees me crying, starts crying again, comes over and puts his arm around me and leans his head on my shoulder. He says, I'll miss you. I lean my head on his shoulder and say, it's okay. But then Mom comes over and he gives her a hug. Then Talia a hug. Then Dad a hug. Quentin and Sean get into one taxi and Dan and the other people get into the other. Quentin's taxi had a curtain across the back window, but he pulls it back and waves to us crying. I climb up on the balcony and watch them. Dad comes up too. When they get onto the road, Quentin sees us and waves. We wave too. I stand there for about 10 minutes. I keep my eyes on the road. I think I saw them, and I went to my room. And I turned on You're My Little Girl by Go Fish. I listened to it twice. Then I was laying on my bed. I look at the tear stains on the sweatshirt. I pull it back towards me and start sobbing. I lay there hoping I will fall asleep and forget everything. Oofta. That was hard. That was a hard goodbye. That was a really hard goodbye because we had already said goodbye to so many people already. And that was like, it felt like the last little bit of home that I had. And I remember clearly in my mind's eye, my brother, 18 years old, which is so young, pulling the curtain back on the taxi and just crying as he said goodbye to us. And I was like, there they go. Like, that's it. I was rough. We weren't at home at that time. We had gone visiting. We were in a village in the mountains, and so we weren't even at home. I couldn't even just hide myself away in my bedroom. And whew. Now that we got the sad out of the way, now that I've given myself a few minutes to calm down from that, let's talk about Leap Year Day. Here we go, February 29th. It's a Sunday, and I know because we went to church and we went to youth group, and I said, hey, I'm really tired. Oh, and please look at this. This is my handwriting on Leap Year Day. Terrible. And here's my normal handwriting. Average, you know. So I was obviously writing very quickly and haphazardly. Hey, I am really tired, but I wanted to write. Youth group got together at Faith's. I hope Caleb likes me. TML. Bailey Finn Squirt. P.S. Caleb gave me a hug goodbye. Yeah. So maybe there's a reason why I really like Leap Year Day, because that's the first time Caleb ever had me. Also, it's kind of weird to keep calling him Caleb. My best friend, obviously Faith, was watching the last one this morning, and she was like, it's so weird hearing you call him Caleb. And I was like, I know! But I was trying to think of a name that I didn't have a lot of other people, like, later on in my life that had that same name. And Caleb is just, I don't know a lot of Calebs, and so that just seemed like the easiest name to use. So, and then March 1st, 2004, I got a letter from Becky. Like a letter in the mail. And it was, according to me, it was so cool, 3 whole pages. Becky is an invaluable friend. I love her. March 2nd, 2004, we heard from Quentin. He talked to Bethany's dad, and he said yes. So him and Beth are finally official, as in officially dating. And he loves her family, and Bethany's dad likes him. So there we go. That was the starting of Quentin and Bethany that is currently up to 7 children in Amish land. I haven't mentioned they use Amish for like 3 videos, so it's fine. So you know how in the last video I talked about how we went on a trip with the youth group. We went to another city that wasn't too far away just for the afternoon, and I got the french fries.
French kids today, French kids tomorrow.
March 14th? Oh. It's my friend's birthday, but I don't think they were my friend at this time. We went to a city in the mountains called Ephraim, and there's supposedly supposed to be snow there. So it was going to be like this fun, like, let's play in the snow day. So this is from that day. Hey, this morning everyone was in a rush and we were late for church, so as soon as we got there, we, the youth group, which was kindly waiting for us, all walked to the bus station. I was hoping the snow would still be there. I missed the snow, so I was excited. I got to sit next to Faith on the bus. We listened to Jump 5. And now, this next part super confuses me because I loved Jump 5, and Faith had a CD that I didn't have. But I said, I'm tired of Jump, like, capital letters, like big letters. I am tired of Jump 5. What? I don't remember that. Faith, I'm sorry. I don't care which CD you have, I don't want to listen to it. I really have no idea where that came from. But apparently I had strong opinions that day, and I did not want to listen to Jump 5. When we were going out, I was waiting for Faith, and Caleb was getting ready, but he couldn't snap his coat, so he asked if I would. And then I put an embarrassed face, because I just did not know how to act around any boy. I did not know how to conduct myself. I was just embarrassed all the time. If I didn't like him, I was awkward because I didn't like him. And if I did like him, I was awkward because I did like him. And I guess if there were boys that I didn't like or dislike, then I just ignored them. Caleb is not going to be here for 2 weeks, so hopefully I'll just get over it. Exclamation point. Caleb took some pictures of us for me. George was supposed to, some guy named George who went with us, he was supposed to take a picture, and this, I believe, is my first picture ever with Faith. So there's me and Faith. March 14th, 2004. There's another picture that has George in it, but I don't know where that is. I already told you guys in my first video that I do not have my photographs organized well. It was not in the same place as this one was. But if you notice, on Faith's lap is a bag. That was my bag that I had, like, everybody sign and draw pictures on, and it was kind of like, I call it my autograph bag.
Because I am sentimental.
I don't have it anymore. That was one of the bigger steps in me letting go of things that I didn't need anymore. And then also, that red hat, I lived in that red hat. I remember one time, apparently, I wasn't wearing that hat, and someone was like, are you feeling okay, Bailey? You're not wearing your red hat. So that's an embarrassing fashion choice that I made when I was 15. And then that sweatshirt that I'm wearing is the sweatshirt I was wearing when we traveled to Morocco. and it was the sweatshirt that I was wearing when I hugged Becky for the last time. That sweatshirt was very, very special to me, and that was another thing that did not make it back from Morocco. And when my mom saw that I wasn't bringing it, she was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, that's how attached I was to that sweatshirt. And then I talked about another boy that I did not like, and I said he was annoying me. And then I write something that has possibly screwed me over. Maybe.
I mean, I'm not saying that I have the power to write my own future, but I said this.
I'm going to find out who I'm going to marry in like 20 years. And I'll read back and I'll go, oh my gosh, look at all that time I wasted on someone who doesn't even remember me. Because I was talking about Caleb, obviously. But why did I say 20 years? I was 15. I could have said like 7 years, 10 years, even 12 years. 20 years?
I'm gonna be 35.
That's a long time. Bailey, that's a long time. Then I talk about how when I say goodbye to Caleb, he looked over and waved and gave me a little smile, and then I said, I'm trying to talk about a boy. I love you. And I said, I don't know what that smile means. Want to know what it probably meant? He's a nice person. I'm describing the kind of guy that I want to be in a relationship with. Someone who will like me and show that even when I don't show it. Someone who will like me for who I am, not the person I used to be. Or the actor who tries to get everyone's attention. Someone who will be there for me no matter what. Someone who will hold me when I cry. Someone who will pray for me and put God above me and our relationship. Someone who will stand by me, to stay when I'm all alone, to just be there when he can't do anything to help me. Someone, someday. And then I wrote, someday my prince will come, and I'll be so glad I waited. Now it's kind of like my catchphrase in high school. I'm going to talk about our first Moroccan friends. Across the street from our apartment building was a man who sold candy, a little stand that sold candy. His name was Hassan. Hassan had 3 daughters and a son, I think. I didn't really know his son because I was a girl, he was a boy. Shuma. His daughters were all around Talia's and my age, which was really cool. So they had their oldest daughter named Nizha. She was older than me. Mediha, she was 15, so she was the same age as me. And then Rita, which I don't know if she was exactly Talia's age or she was close to Talia's age. And then they had 2 cousins who also lived on the same street, and their names were Omar, and he was like 11, 12, and then he had a little brother named Siro, who was like 5. Here's an entry about our Moroccan neighbors. March 4th, we played with Rita and Siro this afternoon. We had been there a long time when Nizha, the oldest girl, came and made us stay. She pulled me in, and I didn't want to leave, so I went along. And whenever we would say Bislama, which means goodbye, she would say La Bislama, which basically means no goodbye, don't leave. But we finally pulled away. We eat lunch at their house at 12:30 p.m. for a lunch of couscous tomorrow. And then a couple days later, on March 6th, we hung out with them again. Talia and I went to Nizha's. It was pretty fun. We were going to play freeze tag like we did last time, but we were too loud and Hassan yelled at us. So after lots of discussion, Mediha and Rita decided that I should go to the bedroom with Mediha, where Nizha was, while Talia stayed with Rita. I taught Mediha how to say beautiful, and she kept saying it. She was saying words she heard on the radio, like, I miss you, I want you, I love you. Believe me, this is what I want. It's a very solid vocabulary. So I ended this. Oh, this is a little confusing. I was writing on March 17th, but I finished this after midnight. So it finished technically March 18th. That's why I said that. So this last day was St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, and I said, hi, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm almost done with you. I'll start my Kelly Jo journal tomorrow night. I tried to read it all the way through, but I didn't finish since it's 23:57, and I'm really tired. And then I talked about how when I started it, I was with the team still. And then I said, you are the first journal to be named after a boy, to be written in every single day. And then number 3, I always ended every entry with a prayer. And then I said, I didn't always write much, but I wrote. And I didn't know if I would, but I did it every day. I'll probably be grateful for them in my later years.
I am.
But now I would have and then I said how I wish how.
Oh my gosh.
And then I say how I wish I would have written every day when I was still in Wisconsin. And how, like, I started that way, you know, the exhaustive, non-stop monologuing of the events of my life. And so I say that, like, I'm sad that I stopped that. I understand that this Bailey was, like, really wanting pieces of home. And she wanted to have, like, full-on tell me everything that I did because I need to hold on to it. But it's okay. And then I said that if I died before Becky, I was gonna give all of my journals to her. Because who wouldn't want to inherit all 55 books of my life? Comment below if you would want to inherit all of my journals. Except for my sister. You're not allowed to vote. I said, P.S. my next journal will be totally Moroccan. No U.S. people now. Bailey Squirt finished on my bed in Fez, midnight 16, March 18th, 2004. And then I was done. And
I would dance here forever if it brought you back.